So here we have some new policies uh, regarding for students, actually geared towards students, and I guess parents to a lesser extent. But recently China's been on a roll lately, like a whole bunch of social, uh, well, I should say a whole bunch of policies geared towards social ends, and we saw it was a long time coming. So we had first thing was clamp down on big tech. They've been going a bit crazy, and China decided to bring them back to the ground. Uh, Remind them where they came from. The other thing was the ridiculous work hours, 996 or something. Yeah, and yeah, that was horrendous, obviously. And they're obviously it was outlawed a long time ago. I think it was 96 or something. Um, but it wasn't enforced everywhere in China. So you had some companies, I think mainly tech companies, but not just tech companies, of course, who basically found loopholes in that law, and it just wasn't enforced properly. So now that's being enforced properly. Long time coming, really. We saw that coming. We knew that would happen eventually. And now we have a new policy that's geared towards students and to a lesser extent parents, but mainly towards students. And in my opinion, this policy will not only lead to students being happier, less stress on the parents as well as the students, but also I feel like the students themselves will become more productive. Um, they'll have more energy, uh, and you'll see why say that as we go through this article. So, new semester begins as China rolls out most strict measures in decades to ease students' uh, burden. Uh, Schools all over China on Wednesday began the routine procedure of welcoming their students' return, yet this semester is special. Uh, since July, when the students were enjoying summer vacation, the Chinese government has rolled out a slew of measures dubbed double reduction, also described as the most stringent in decades by Chinese analysts to ease burdens and anxiety for students and parents alike, including suspending off campus curriculum, subject tutoring courses for students on national holidays. Um, in East Asia, this kind of stuff, like it's it's notorious, um, and reducing the frequency of exams. I've seen a little bit of that. I'm not sure exactly how much, but it did look pretty crazy. Anyway, analysts said the reform not only turned the tide against the growing unrestrained competition in children's education, but also guaranteed China's next generation a healthier, more balanced, and diverse upbringing. Uh, so obviously, education is not about competition. It's about really about learning the skills required later in life. So it should be geared towards that. But it also helps for a healthier and more balanced, diverse upbringing as well. As the article states. And also, when you're a child, I feel like you should be enjoying your life, more than like just studying all day and stuff. But that's just me. obviously getting good grades and stuff is like, excelling in life is highly important as well. But you gotta live your life. On Wednesday, the first day of the new semester, Beijing resident Li Yu was surprised to see her fourth grade daughter watching cartoons after class was dismissed. The first time since her daughter started school. God damn. Uh, I'm just not used to her coming home without any homework, so Lee said. The Global Times on Wednesday learned from several elementary and secondary schools across China that they have launched support measures to cope with the double reduction. So some schools in Beijing, Shanghai, and Chongqing have rescheduled school hours starting after 8 a.m. and arranging about 2 hours of after-school time for students after 3:30 p.m. And students can participate in arts, sports, and academic tutorials based on their interest, supervised by teachers. I wish we had that kind of stuff here in Australia, but students get their homework done at school under teachers' guidance, enjoy their after-school time, and have enough sleep. Yeah, you gotta have a balanced. You gotta have a balanced day, if you know what I mean. Those are the goals of the new school year. Teachers are named Suo, I think that's how it's pronounced. Su, maybe, from an elementary school in Beijing told the Global Times. Xiao Chanhong, vice president of the Beijing-based Jinyuan School, a full-time boarding school integrating kindergarten, elementary, and secondary schools, and an international department, told the Global Times that the school arranged sports competition and exercises for students such as ball games, track and field sports, and ice and snow sports. That's pretty crazy, snow sports. In addition to sports clubs, the school also has arts, science, and technology clubs. Students can choose a club according to what they're interested in. The Peking Opera Society is one of the most notable societies at the school, according to Xiao. Li Yu, the Beijing parent, hailed the new policies as a good start. I think double reduction can give back a happy childhood for my child. Since July, the government's put a lid on the country's chaotic and massive off-campus tutorial industry, restricting it from offering curriculum subject tutoring courses during holidays and weekends. That's a really good measure. I like that. These are like for-profit industries, not really environment for learning. At a Monday conference, the Ministry of Education said that first and second graders should not be given written examinations. For other grades, schools should give only one final examination every semester. So that's pretty much the system we have here in Australia, where I studied. Compared with previous practices of jamming multiple exams into a semester. Yeah. I don't know. For me, this is just my opinion. I actually liked exams way more than assessments. I don't know if they had that in China, but we had assessments, and basically that would just eat into our any free time we had, basically after school. Assessments, they're not like exams because while you get like obviously you have to get an extended period of time to do all the research and all that. But man, I hated those, and I really preferred exams over that. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Ministry also banned schools setting up priority classes for gifted students. Also, a really good thing. Education analysts say it is the most stringent measure in decades. to assuage pressure and anxiety of students and parents alike. An expert from a research institute affiliated with the MOE told the Global Times that the problem in our education evaluation system has resulted in an excessive burden on students and parents. We've been talking about easing the burden on students for years, yet there was no substantial results, said the expert, noting that this time the government is determined to make it right. So it's like the same with the working hours thing. It's like so the government obviously had was aware of these issues and was was planning on working on them, but they had issues that were a higher priority to deal with before this stuff. Um, Stuff like poverty and stuff like that. And we know that's a much bigger issue than this, and that's been eradicated recently. So that's why we're seeing like a whole bunch of social policies being rolled out, and we'll see more soon. Uh, New concerns after the policies were released. Some parents are fretting about how those policies will be implemented, or if it will give rise to a new type of education inequality. Hmm. I don't know how that, where the burden for a child from average families is shaken off, while families with more money would have private tutorials for their children at home. But that was what happened in the previous system, isn't it? Uh, that's what resulted in inequality. So how, I don't know what's wrong with these parents. In order to better implement those rules, the MOE on Wednesday issued the first document since the founding of the PRC to hold entities, including local governments, relevant departments, schools, and other educational institutions, accountable for activities that hamper the development of education, including lack of resolution and commitment in implementing national policies. That's the issue they have at the really local level because you got that, you know, I wouldn't say disconnect, but it's like what do I call it? It's like a lag in, not a lag, but a accountability issue, like the local government, because they're not uh, directly under the supervision of the central government. Um, they get kind of lax if you understand what I mean. So it's like a disconnect between the two, kind of. Shu Zohai, I probably butchered the pronunciation on that. A research fellow at the National Institute of Education Sciences hailed the MOE's move as smoothing the nose of some parents who were questioning the implementation of the double reduction policies. Holding people accountable for those infringements means the government is serious about reducing burden this time. This effort will help schools and other entities focus on what they should be focused on, which are classes and campuses. Uh, so now in China, um, we'll get more higher quality education, even though China already has the highest quality education in the world, But China's going to keep getting better and better in all these areas. Uh, the only competition is with itself. Uh, we know, like, if you've done your research, you know that China is already like named the most creative country, and on like design rankings and stuff like that, China's number one. Uh, the anonymous expert said that there will inevitably be issues during this type of reform, yet the reform will lead the country's education system in a healthier direction and create a better growth environment for students. So, yeah, that's true with any kind of massive reforms, I guess. Uh, you will get a few, it won't be smooth. It won't be smooth running, that's all. He predicted that changes to the students' evaluation system will come at the end of the reform, which means the scores oriented system will eventually be reformed as well. Okay. In the future, grades will be less dominant factor in evaluating a student's ability. That means students will be less dependent on tutorials. Uh, so yeah, that's another big thing. These are really exciting changes. Actually, I'm really loving this. So question will be how will they what kind of criteria are they using to evaluate a student's ability once this reform comes to pass? Uh, because China's at uh, like the frontier development stage. Like it's at the front stage of pretty much all countries at this point, um, and it's pushing the boundaries. So really, China's the one that will be making the new cutting edge reforms in all social areas. The most important lesson, although students may undergo tremendous changes during the new semester, the tradition for them to watch first class of new semester, a TV show produced by China Central Television and the MOE remains. So lighting on my camera is really shit. Can I get it to? Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Themed to shine the future with ideals this year. The program features stories of the founding of the CPC. As 2021 marks the 100th anniversary of the founding of the party, the Sun Show 12 crew and Tokyo Olympics medalists inspired Chinese youth to learn stories about hope and create a better future. It's a pretty good program. I like it. Middle school in Nanchang, East China's Jiangxi province, also where the CPC staged an uprising against the Kuomintang, organized students to visit revolutionary sites on the first day of school. Officials from the school said in an interview that this is to train students to show great ambition and take the responsibility of rejuvenating our country. It's already rejuvenating though. Already rejuvenated, I should say. Many of our classmates, including me, watched the Grand Semi. That's I want to see more of the policy related stuff. So, or I might have covered everything. Some youth's enthusiasm for sports was rekindled by the Tokyo Olympics as the Beijing Winter Olympic Games are approaching. Several schools across China reached, but the Global Times said they plan to promote information about the games during the first week of the new school year. Also, Jingyian School in Beijing on Wednesday encouraged secondary students to apply to be volunteers for the games. Zhang Yu, I think that's how it's pronounced, professor at Peking University, said that these examples of achievement showcase to young students how the country, the party, and outstanding people have achieved what they have achieved for now. The most important lesson should be for young students, future nation builders, to establish national confidence and cultivate a strong sense of national identity in them. So we can see in these related articles, this is a few days back. This article was published, and you see already Shanghai rolls out more sports art education in drive to reduce burden on students. Regulations on minors protection take effect. Calls for sexuality education. I thought that was already thing. And then Beijing eases students' pressure for 1.4 million in compulsory education. Um, and he got some other awesome stuff here as well. So such as China calls for resisting abnormal aesthetics, boycotting tainted stars. So I'm guessing that's targeted more at the K-pop style thing. And yeah, let's see what the comments have to offer. It seems to me that the task of keeping Western literature and culture alive will fall to Chinese students who care about culture in general. Students here in the West are too busy learning to care about the greatness of history and culture. Um, but it's more, but it's not like it's not that's not Chinese students' responsibility. Um, it's a pleasure to read of these reforms. Australian ex-teacher, I saw the collapse of secondary education in my own country, and schools abandoning content for endless testing and conformity. Schools became workout prisons, and students learned little and acted like prisoners. China is well suited to provide digital libraries, digital reading, writing equipment, daylight reading tablets. Give them libraries that can read, listen to so resources exceeding requirements. That when something intrigues them, they can pursue it, not for tests, but for those who are curious and means to pursue it. I agree with that. I've read quite a few Australian researched, which suggests more importance to nurture number sense and math reasoning before teaching algebra. The collapse of the math anxiety of Australian students is in OECD average, which is in the middle between Netherlands and my country. Japan among West among countries among OECD average in PISA math. That's just wrong though. Japan's one of the best in the PISA math. Uh, PISA math rankings. So, um, I'm pretty sure it's one of the best, like second to South Korea or something. It'd be third if China was in the OECD. Oh yeah, Australian education's definitely on a massive decline. In the East, they are getting better, especially in China, which is pretty much accelerated growth now. Uh, Moik, very good strategy to provide a rounded and extensive education for children. However, keep up the desire and availability of core STEM in parallel with the classics, language, and history subjects. In high school, it would be useful to integrate the blah blah blah. Uh, so I think uh, obviously people who are interested in said subject should go for said subject, whatever they're interested in. But it also falls on the society itself, the parents themselves, to uh, like in India, we have um, our parents like not my parents, but most Indian parents are like be a doctor, be an engineer, or something like that. Because it's not it's not because it's big. It's actually more to do with social status. Um, because they're obsessed with their kids starting families of their own, and uh, I guess Chinese people are sort of past that stage, but yeah, it could still be like a thing there. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, it also falls on the parents as well to encourage their children to pursue, whatever they want to do um, in life, and their children will be happier, the parents will be happier. But yeah, I think China's gonna get like 30 or 40 years time. We're gonna see the fruits of this, and China's gonna be far more innovative than it already is. Uh, but yeah, this is the start of like China's evolving. It's not just gonna peak or something. I think it's just gonna keep evolving in the system because that's the nature of this the system they have. Um, it's geared towards like the bias is towards more intelligence, if you know what I mean. So this to me, these kinds of policies will develop incredible talent in whatever areas they are, really productive students, and I think on the contrary, I think this is actually going to produce like higher achieving students, even in grades and stuff like because productivity is dependent on your mood and everything like that. They're going to be much happier. They can live a much more social life, have fun, uh, study afterwards, and it's going to lead to a much more productive education system. So yeah, those are really exciting times ahead. I have a feeling China's going to roll out even more social policies. So yeah, we can look forward to that. And I'll see you guys next time.